Ha, ha, very funny, Colin chuckled as his mother held a dress up to him. Oh, you'd look lovely in this, she teased, holding up a floral cotton dress among the items she was sorting. It appeared to be brand new, like many of the other things. This was an affluent neighborhood, and it likely had only been worn once or twice before its owner grew tired of it. As she looked at Colin, she couldn't help but feel a pang of longing. She loved her only child deeply, but she had always wished for a daughter. Still, she thought, that's just the way things go, and she continued her sorting. The rest of the items were packed away in the garage for collection the following week. Colin was all boy, and although he was certainly interested in girls, he couldn't deny a certain curiosity about the way they dressed. He knew what tights felt like from the lycra he wore during sports, but he had never really considered dressing up himself. Recently, he had seen some pictures of transvestites in one of his mother's magazines, comparing their before and after photos, and he was fascinated by the changes in appearance they could achieve. Later that week, Colin came home early from school. There was an option for extra study or sports. He was in his room when his mother arrived with a friend. They started chatting, and Colin overheard a conversation. "Oh, you're so lucky having one of each," his mother said, "and now that Diane is getting married, it's every mother's dream. I'd love to go shopping for a daughter's wedding things." "Maybe you could get involved if Colin pops the question to end," replied the lady from across the road. "They're about to finish college, you never know." This caught Colin's attention. He had always liked Anne, but he hadn't thought that far ahead. He felt a little sorry for his mom but wasn't planning to get married just to fulfill her fantasy. The weekend came, and the bags were brought back into the house, awaiting pickup. Once again, his mother playfully held the dress up to him. "Oh yes, it definitely suits you," she joked. Colin smiled, pulling away with a blush, but then he twirled in the dress. "Mom, you might be right," he laughed, handing it back. Later, after football practice, Colin noticed that the bags were still there. "Has my dress not gone yet?" he teased. "No," his mother replied, "the van broke down, so we're stuck with all this for another week." After making himself a drink, Colin decided to act on an idea. He sat next to his mother with a mischievous smile. "What's on your mind?" she asked. "I don't want you to think I'm strange, but hear me out. How about I try on that dress, like we've been joking about? I want to do it properly, hair, makeup, shoes, everything. I can be your daughter for a day, just for fun. I know Dad's away next weekend. What do you think?" His mother was taken aback, emotions swirling in her mind. But when she saw the sincerity in his eyes, she wasn't disturbed. Instead, she saw an opportunity for some fun and an outlet for her own fantasy. "Colin, I'm surprised. Are you sure you want to do this? I just want to make sure you're comfortable with it. If there's anything you need to tell me, I hope you'll feel able to share." "No worries, Mom. It'll just be for fun, between you and me," Colin reassured her. "Let me think about it," she said, considering the idea. "All right, no rush. Just let me know when you decide," Colin replied, feeling proud of his boldness as he headed to his room. His mother, still unsure but intrigued, needed some time to think it over. She worried he might have felt pressured by their ongoing joke with the dress. But when she saw how happy he seemed, she thought there was no harm in letting him have some fun. After all, they had everything they needed in the bags, including hosiery and underwear, so it wasn't going to cost much. She called him downstairs. "Colin, I've thought it over. If you're sure about this, we can do it. But if you change your mind, just let me know. I've always wished for a daughter, in addition to you, of course, and I'd enjoy the illusion. We can put together an outfit from what we have here. Next Saturday, then?" "Great. I'm excited," Colin said, grinning. "I can't wait to see how I look and how it feels." "All right, I'll make all the arrangements," his mother replied. "Don't make any other plans for Saturday. And what should we call my new daughter?" "Your father and I always liked the name Sophie if you'd been a girl." Sounds good to me, Colin smiled. The next day, his mother reminded him, make sure to have a bath and go to bed early, young lady. He smiled back, surprised and amused to find a nightgown on his bed with a note that read, just to get you in the mood. Saturday. What Colin didn't know was that his mother had been chatting with her friend Kathy at the hairdresser's. Kathy had offered to give him a makeover and do his hair if he came in early on Saturday. Kathy thought it was amusing, but she also understood how much it meant to Colin's mother, so she planned to make it special. His mother had also spoken to a few other friends, but more on that later. She made sure to get him up early so they could get to Kathy's salon before the other customers arrived. Time to get up, sleepyhead. Colin woke up and was pleasantly surprised to find the silky negligee around his body. This feels nice, he thought dreamily for a moment, I might just keep it. Come on, we need to get moving. Shave, put on some underwear, your tracksuit, and trainers, nothing else, and come downstairs for breakfast. What's going on, Mum? Why the rush? He asked. Just do as I say, young lady. I'll be downstairs waiting for you. Being called young lady snapped him back to reality. It was the day. He quickly did what he was told, dressed, and joined his mother at the breakfast table. I know this might be a surprise, but I didn't feel I could do justice to your hair and makeup, so I asked Kathy for help. She's used to doing younger styles and agreed to help before her regulars arrive. Don't worry, she'll be discreet. Is that all right? Yeah, I guess so, Colin said, surprised by the turn of events. But how do I get there? Don't worry. I'll take you and bring you back. Your hair is long anyway, and you'll be wearing your tracksuit, no one will see anything unusual. After breakfast, they drove the short distance to the salon. It looked closed, but the door opened, and Kathy greeted them. Seeing the look of anxiety on Colin's face, Kathy took him aside. Don't worry, your mother told me everything. I think what you're doing is fun and a nice gesture. Just relax and enjoy it. We're not making any permanent changes. She turned to his mother. We'll be about an hour. You can head back home, and I'll give you a call when she's ready. His mother smiled, squeezed his hand, and left him in Kathy's care. All right then, let's get started. I'll call you Sophie from the beginning. Just follow my instructions, and we'll have you looking lovely in no time. Your mother and I are old friends, and I'll make this special for both of you. First, let's see what we have to work with, Kathy said, guiding him to the back room. Take off your tracksuit. There's a robe in the cubicle. When Colin came out, Kathy said, Now, slip off the robe and lie on the table. I'm going to start by smoothing cream on your arms, legs, and chest. This will remove your body hair. It's not much, but let's do it right. After a few minutes, his skin began to tingle, and Kathy led him to the shower. Go ahead and wash it off, I'll be right back. Colin wasn't very hairy before, but now he was smooth, and his arms and legs felt beautifully soft. Kathy waited for him to finish in the shower, toweled him dry, and led him back to the table. She rubbed soothing cream on his now smooth skin. He hadn't realized he was unclothed until he felt Kathy's hands gently adjust things. She said, Nice girls don't want to have that hanging around, do they? He was surprised, but agreed. These are used by drag artists, and they'll take care of things. The flesh-tone panties she handed him had a pocket for his private area and even had realistic features, making everything look more feminine. Put these on, and you'll be able to use the bathroom, but remember, you'll have to sit like us girls. The makeover was going further than Colin had expected, but he decided to go with it. Kathy gave him back the robe and led him to the sink. She washed his hair and began rolling it into curlers. It took some time, but eventually, she was finished. Take off your robe and lie down again. I'll apply some gel to your chest while the curlers set, she said. The gel felt soothing on his skin after the hair remover. Then, she applied a face mask and eye pads to him. These pads will cool the gel. Relax, I'm going to do a manicure now. This was luxurious, and Colin could see why women went through it. It felt nice all over. He could feel the snugness of the undergarments but was impressed by how well they concealed everything. What would his mom think? Kathy continued working on his nails, occasionally checking on his chest while the iPad stayed in place. Later, Colin could smell the nail polish as Kathy worked on his fingers and toes. It felt like a thorough job, and he thought, this is going to take a while to remove. Let the polish dry, and don't peek until I'm finished with your makeup. Sit up for a moment, Kathy instructed. Colin felt her wrapping something around his chest and fastening it behind him. She then replaced his robe and led him to the makeup chair. After removing the face mask and eye pads, he felt completely refreshed. You have such a lovely complexion. Don't worry, I won't go overboard with the makeup. He could feel the foundation, mascara, and lipstick being applied, wondering what he looked like. Next, Kathy started removing the rollers from his hair, carefully styling it. When she finished, soft curls cascaded over his shoulders. All right, Sophie, time to reveal your new look. Close your eyes, and I'll stand you in front of the mirror. Colin could hardly bring himself to open his eyes, feeling the tug of mascara and wondering what had been done to him. Finally, he opened them and was stunned. The reflection staring back at him was a different girl altogether. As he moved, so did she. It wasn't perfect, but he would definitely take a second glance. Looking at Kathy, she smiled and said, "It's you, dear. Don't you recognize Sophie?" As the realization hit him, Kathy steadied him. Now, undo your robe. Colin's heart raced, and though tempted to rub his eyes, he noticed the illusion was complete. The undergarments had perfectly concealed everything, and the matching bra gave the appearance of real breasts. I don't know what to say, Colin whispered. I didn't know this was possible. I look just like a girl. How can I thank you? Just make your mother happy today. I'll call her to come get Sophie. Kathy left him in awe, gazing at his transformed appearance. One last thing before you go. This completes the ensemble. Kathy wrapped a lacy beige suspender belt around his waist. Now, gently pull the stockings up your legs and clip them in place. Perfect. Now, go ahead and change back into your tracksuit. I've got to prepare for my regular clients, but I hope you enjoy the day, Sophie dear. After Kathy gave him a small bag with the cosmetics used, Colin saw his mother's car pull up. He waved and jumped in, still processing the transformation. His mother was pleasantly surprised at how the hairstyle and makeup had transformed Colin. It was still him, but in a way, it felt like he was someone else. Hold your head up, Sophie. No one will think you're anything but what you appear to be. You're absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to get you home and into that dress, his mother said with a smile. Colin laughed nervously but sat up straight, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. At home, his mother led him upstairs. Let's get you dressed. I've laid everything out for you. Now, Mom, close your eyes while I take off the tracksuit. You're in for a surprise. Kathy was thorough. Once he was undressed, Colin sat on the edge of the bed. Okay, now you can look. Oh my goodness, what has she done? It looks so real. Are you okay? Does it hurt? His mother asked, stunned. She's given you a girl's body. Don't worry, it feels fine. It's made of latex, so it should peel off easily. Besides, I'm very comfortable, just adjusting to the weight of it on my chest. The underwear was her gift, Colin reassured her. Oh, you look wonderful. Let me grab my camera, wait here for a moment. A few seconds later, his mother was snapping photos, asking Sophie to pose in different ways. One last request, though, you can refuse if you want a photo without the underwear. The body modifications are so realistic. Please? In for a penny, in for a pound, Colin said, a bit amused. But I'm keeping the negatives. You're really enjoying this, aren't you, Mum? Despite her initial doubts, his mother had been enjoying herself. She now saw only her daughter in front of her, and Sophie was here to stay. More photos were taken as Colin changed into the dress. His mother helped him put on the delicate underslip, the fabric flowing over his body with a cool sensation. Then came the dress. It fit just a little loosely, but once zipped up and with the cuffs buttoned, Colin felt light and free. A pair of white sandals from the pile fit well, though slightly small. They had a low heel, and after a few moments of adjusting, Colin felt ready to walk carefully in them. I told you that dress suited you. Now, let's finish it off with a necklace and some clip-on earrings. Oh, and of course, some perfume, Chanel No. 5. Only the best for my girl. Sophie felt dreamy. She couldn't believe this was happening. As she looked at her reflection in the full-length mirror and inhaled the expensive cologne, she felt a little lightheaded. Her mother studied her, kissing her cheek and smiling with deep affection in her eyes. Sophie felt an overwhelming sense of happiness. A few more photos, and her mother led her toward the landing. Now, let's plan the rest of our day over coffee. Watch your step on the stairs. It felt strange to sit at the breakfast bar, the clothes against her skin, the polish on her nails, the perfume in the air, and the way her mother was treating her like a real girl. First, we need to work on your girl skills. We haven't had much time for walking or sitting properly yet. Then we'll go shopping for some new things, especially those shoes, they need replacing. We'll also get you a new dress and some accessories. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. The last comment stopped Sophie from protesting. She hadn't thought this through, but of course, her mother would want to take her daughter out, that was part of the fantasy. I thought we'd go into town after we work on your posture and get you a handbag filled with essentials. Into Manchester? Sophie asked. Of course, dear. That's where the best shops are. No one will recognize you there, even if they did. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. This is for fun, and I won't make you do anything you don't want to. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. They finished their coffee, and Sophie couldn't help but notice the lipstick smear on the cup and the new taste when she ran her tongue over her lips. Walking was tricky, and the shoes weren't the best fit, but she kept at it, eventually walking gracefully. Sitting, standing, and learning where to place her hands, she never realized there was so much to it. After about an hour, it was 10:30, and her mother decided it was time to go. She showed Sophie how to touch up her lipstick and packed a small shoulder bag with cosmetics Kathy had given her, along with a few other essentials and a small wallet with 30 pounds and some change. They were ready for Sophie's big test, leaving the safety of the house. Just act naturally and treat people as they treat you. No one will know you. If anyone asks locally, you're my niece Sophie. In town, you'll be my daughter. Got it? Okay, but I'm really nervous, Mum. That's understandable, sweetheart. It's every girl's first day out. What an occasion! Let's go out and shop till we drop. As they left the house, Sophie scanned the street for anyone looking at her. The cool breeze on her stockinged legs made her feel exposed. After a brief wait for her mother to lock up, they climbed into the car. The drive to Manchester felt long, and every time they stopped at traffic signals, Sophie imagined people staring. Hold your head high, Sophie, her mother scolded gently. Eventually, Sophie settled into her role and even smiled back at a van driver who seemed particularly interested. They parked in the multi-story car park behind Kendall's and walked toward the lift. It was quiet as they entered, but just as they pressed the button, a young couple rushed in, and they had to share the space. Sophie found herself pressed against the young man, who seemed to take notice of her, until his companion shot him a disapproving look. As the lift reached the ground floor, the young man stepped back and said, "After you, ladies." As they stepped out, Sophie's mother whispered, "Well, he certainly got a close look. Do you think anyone will recognize you now?" Sophie had to agree, the guy had definitely checked her out. They continued walking toward St. Anne's Square, where Sophie noticed that only the men were looking at her, but the women and couples seemed oblivious. She was accepted as a she. Her mother slowed down, glancing at the shop windows, chatting about the latest fashions on display. Sophie went along with it, thinking it would satisfy her mother's need. Eventually, they stepped into one of the shops, and Sophie's mother showed interest in a silky cream-colored spring dress. The assistant suggested Sophie try it on, and though she hesitated, her mother immediately encouraged her. "Don't worry, I'll come with you," her mother reassured her. They entered the changing room, and just as they fastened the last hook on the dress, the assistant called out, "Come on out, let's see how it looks." The dress fit Sophie perfectly, though it no longer matched her stockings or shoes. Despite herself, she felt a bit disappointed. "Ah, I see the problem," the assistant said. "Let me choose some matching footwear and stockings." "Are we going with stockings or tights, young lady?" "Stockings," Sophie replied, a bit startled. The assistant returned with cream micromesh stockings and a pair of 3-inch cream sandals. "I've guessed your size. Please try them on, I think this will make all the difference." Back in the changing room, Sophie removed the dress to change her stockings, with her mother helping her. As they were finishing and starting to try on the sandals, the assistant popped her head through the curtain. "Would you ladies like a coffee?" Sophie nearly jumped out of her skin. How much had the assistant seen? But surely, she suspected nothing. "That would be lovely," her mother replied. "We'll be out in a moment." They adjusted the dress and stepped outside. Sophie gazed at her reflection in the full-length mirror. The dress was perfect, the stockings and shoes complemented it beautifully, and the effect was stunning. She saw her mother and the assistant nodding in agreement. "Sit here and have your drink. I'll be right back." Once her mother was gone, the assistant came over and snipped off the label. "Such a fine choice," she said. Indeed, it was a lovely dress, but Sophie knew it was all just for fun, and once the coffee was finished, she would change back. To her surprise, her mother reappeared carrying a shopping bag from the store and Sophie's matching shoulder bag. "I've told them you'll wear it now. Your old clothes are in the bag, except for the stockings. I've put them in your shoulder bag, as they were brand new." "Mom! I thought this was just supposed to be fun. This dress must have cost a fortune, and it'll only be worn today. Just indulge me, dear. Let me worry about the cost. I'm having fun, and I think you are too. Now come on, I have a stunning daughter for the day, and I want to make the most of it." Sophie sighed but decided to roll with it. After all, this was her idea. It must be time for lunch soon. "I think I know the perfect place," her mother said. They headed toward King Street, passing the church and the pedestrian shopping area where the designer stores were. They spent some time window shopping, checking labels, and trying on more dresses and suits, but thankfully, from Sophie's point of view, there were no more purchases. "This has been wonderful for me, Sophie. I always dreamed of taking my daughter shopping, and you've made it possible. Thank you so much." "That's fine, Mum. It was a bit of a shock at first, but I'm enjoying it. The clothes feel so much nicer than boys' things, and people seem to treat me better. I'm quite relaxed now." "That's wonderful, dear. I'm so grateful. Now, let's get that lunch." They walked toward Deansgate and back into Kendall's, heading to the ground floor cafe. It was self-service, but it was a popular spot. They collected a light lunch and found a table. "That man over there keeps staring at me, Mum," Sophie whispered. "It's quite normal, just smile back and continue with your meal. He thinks he's seeing a beautiful young girl, so you should be flattered." They continued eating, and just as they were gathering their things to leave, the man approached them. "I'm terribly sorry to intrude, ladies, but I couldn't help noticing this attractive young lady. Surely she's too old to be your daughter?" "You're too kind, sir." "I'm sorry, ladies." "Jean Dupont," he said. "Charmed, I'm sure." I'm Jean Richardson, and this is my daughter, Sophie. How can we help you, Mr. DuPont? Two lovely English ladies. I do hope we can help each other. I'm a fashion designer, and I'm having an exhibition of my latest collection this evening. My favorite model, he pointed to a girl at his table, who didn't seem too thrilled, is ill and can't continue. Would Mademoiselle Sophie do me the honor of taking her place? It's a small, private showing, no large crowd. Sophie has the same complexion as Amelia, and you seem to be the same size. Of course, I would pay the usual fee, and Sophie may choose one of the dresses from the collection to keep. Sophie and her mother were stunned into silence. I realize this may be a bit of a shock, but I implore you, please help me. Mrs. Richardson was the first to regain her composure. This is indeed an honor for my daughter, but she's never done anything like this before. She's quite shy. Sophie, still unable to speak, stared at her mother with frightened eyes. Just say no, she thought. Do not worry, DuPont said with confidence. I saw you both walking in, and she's a natural. Amelia will assist her, and you may stay backstage if you wish. Please, think about it. Mrs. Richardson, now fully caught up in the excitement, said, Of course, we must help. What an opportunity for a young girl. And her mother, she thought. The evening arrived, and despite herself, Sophie had gone along with the charade. After leaving the cafe, they went to the hotel where the exhibition was taking place. Sophie practiced walking on the catwalk for the first time, with Amelia helping her, despite her illness and limited English. Sophie's measurements were nearly identical to Amelia's, so the seamstresses took the dresses away for small adjustments, leaving Sophie in suspense about what she would wear. Although the situation was overwhelming, Sophie eventually relaxed and began to enjoy the experience. The first few dresses were elegantly tailored French designs, followed by some more daring styles where the underwear was clearly visible. Thank goodness everything looks real, Sophie thought. But it was the final dress that threw her, a wedding dress, exquisite with French lace arms and bodice. Sophie felt amazing in it, although the design required her to go without a bra, with her fake cleavage visible through the sheer white material. What she didn't see was the male model who greeted her on the catwalk and, as a finale, raised her veil and kissed her gently on the cheek. Overwhelmed with emotion, everything felt so right. After the show, Sophie and her mother joined the designer and his team for a drink, then made their way to leave. Sophie's mother had chosen one of the earlier dresses and collected the modeling fee. They were both exhausted. Mademoiselle, please, I have one last favor to ask. That wedding dress looked so perfect on you. Would you consider wearing it one more time? We've arranged a small photo shoot at a church near Macclesfield tomorrow. If you return here tomorrow, we'll dress you again and take you by limousine. I'll be very generous with the fee, and you may keep the dress. The dress. Sophie shouldn't like it, she shouldn't feel good in it, and she certainly shouldn't have enjoyed the kiss from the male model while wearing it, but she did. Yes, Sophie said before her mother could speak. We'll be here tomorrow. I'd love to help. They returned to their car, which one of the designer's assistants had brought to the hotel, and made their way home. The streets were quiet, and the drive along Chester Road was uneventful. Sophie didn't worry about being seen this time, after all, no one seemed to have noticed. Once home, Sophie changed into the nightdress her mother had bought, another purchase she hadn't noticed. Exhausted, she nearly fell asleep as her mother cleansed her face. When she lay down, sleep and dreams came easily. She didn't hear her mother making a few phone calls. The next day, still in their nightwear, mother and daughter had a light breakfast. They decided on light makeup and a simple skirt and blouse, as Sophie would be dressed and made up by DuPont's team. Despite the Sunday morning crowd, no one seemed to pay any attention to the young girl and her mother. They drove the same route as the previous day, and this time Sophie kept her head high, appreciating the attention she received. The designer and his team were ready for them at the hotel, and soon Sophie's hair was restyled, makeup applied, and she was wearing that dress again. After more photos, it was time to leave. Sophie searched for her mother, who appeared wearing a stunning suit, very much the mother of the bride look, and was beautifully made up. "Oh, my dear child, you look lovely," her mother exclaimed. "And so do you, Mum," Sophie replied. "Your mother will follow in the second car," explained an assistant. "Now, we must go." Sophie walked outside, people smiling and taking photos, thinking this was real. An elderly woman approached and said, "You look so lovely, dear. What a lucky man your husband-to-be is." Sophie climbed into the Rolls-Royce, took one last look back at the photographer, and they set off. As the car drove through the southern suburbs of Manchester, Sophie saw people looking into the car and admiring the bride. The car suddenly turned off the main road and into a pub car park. "Just a moment," said the driver. "Someone is meeting us here." A man emerged from the pub, wearing a morning suit and carrying a top hat, another extra for the photo shoot, Sophie thought. The man climbed into the car and sat beside her. "Hello, my dear. I believe you're called Sophie today." Sophie was stunned into silence. "Don't worry, son, or should I say lass. Your mother has told me everything. I couldn't miss this. It's the proudest moment for a father to give his daughter away. I thought my chance had passed after your mother couldn't have any more children after you. You don't mind, do you? I'm so proud of you for what you've done. Your mother has had such a wonderful weekend. But Dad, you don't mind? I'm a boy, not a girl." "Of course, I don't mind. You've made your mother so happy, I've told you. It was a bit of a surprise, though. I've been to fancy dress parties in drag, but this takes it to a whole new level. I wouldn't have known, looking at you, and I'm your father. How does it feel, dressed like that?" "Well, don't think I'm strange, but it feels really good. Boys don't usually get to wear such fine, delicate fabrics. I kind of like fooling people, but don't worry, I don't think I want to do this much more. Getting a lady ready seems to take such a long time." The car slowed as it wound through the country lanes, eventually pulling up to a small chapel. Guests, dressed for the occasion, were gathered outside with the designer and photographers. Sophie spotted her mother standing by the churchyard gate. "Oh, my dear, you look radiant. You don't mind about your father, do you?" "No, of course not, Mum. I seem to be making a lot of people happy today." The photographers then took over. "We're going to recreate the whole thing, just like a real wedding. We've got guests, a groom, and a vicar. Just enjoy it as if it's real." If only they knew, Sophie thought. Photos were snapped, proud mother and father with their beautiful bride. Two little girls, dressed as bridesmaids with accents taken from the wedding dress, joined them. An organist began to play, and the party entered the church. People lined the sides, with occasional camera flashes, but Sophie couldn't make out any faces, and the veil restricted her view. The groom and best man moved into position at the altar, facing forward as tradition dictated. Sophie saw the groom's hair slicked back in a ponytail. When she stood beside him, she focused straight ahead at the vicar. He leaned between them and whispered, "I know this is all make-believe, so we won't do the full ceremony. Let's go straight to the rings for the photographer." The groom turned to the best man for the rings, then posed, placing the ring on Sophie's finger as cameras flashed. "You may kiss the bride," the vicar announced. "Oh no," Sophie thought, as the groom raised her veil. And looked at her boyfriend and said, "You've made your mother so happy. Now, will you marry me?" If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.